Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallama tasliman kathiran. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Inshallah, let's get started. If we have any questions. First question, alhamdulillah, comes from F. Ali from the UK. Sahib. Question says, inshallah, coming right now. First question says, excuse me, it's from Australia. EN, initials EN. That's a Hajj question. We'll come back to that. We answered that question last night, I believe, about family members who don't adhere to Islam. Questions from RA from Edmonton, Canada. Advice on perfecting Quran recitation in Ramadan. Advices and tips. Quran recitation and its perfection is of two types. One is a gift from Allah, which in most cases is not going to be perfection, but a person will have a natural talent. They're going to have a natural voice, a natural ability to memorize, to retain, etc. And then secondly, there's a skill that you learn through studying tajweed, studying under a master, studying for years, specializing in it, and practicing and devoting many hours and days, weeks, and months and years out of your life. So with regards to doing it in Ramadan, inshallah ta'ala, make sure you take the necessary steps. Make sure you take the necessary steps with regards to learning the basics of tajweed, studying the basics of tajweed with someone, and learn or remind yourself of the reality that studying the Quran al-Kareem is ibadah, it's worship, and it needs ikhlas, and you beautifying your voice and doing the things that the Prophet ﷺ told you is worship. And it's much more than just pleasing the people or for your family to say that fulan's a hafiz, so on and so forth, something like this. Okay? What's important is take the necessary steps, learn the basics, and never ever forget that it's an honor to recite the Quran. It's an honor, it's nobility, and it's not just for worldly gain. Wallahu alam. Next question states, from UK, it's from the it's initials UT from London. I've been reading Quran, praying, seeking knowledge of Ramadan, but I don't feel sincere, even though I'm striving. How do I soften the heart so that I can gain all from this month? Well, due to the fact that you're asking this question is a proof, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, that you have sincerity. Inshallah, inshallah. Hopefully it's a dalil that you're concerned of your religion. Only a sincere heart is going to ask. Only a fearful heart is going to be afraid. Inshallah ta'ala. So due to the fact that you're asking and you're doubtful and you're concerned, that's a sign that leads you into the right direction, bi'idhnillah. Shaitan tricks many people. They get caught up and say, my niyyah is not correct, so I'm not going to do it anymore. My niyyah is not correct, so I'm not going to be a Muslim anymore, waliyadu billah, or something like this. Okay, what's important is that what's important is that make your intention for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and whenever you feel a whispering from shaitan, you seek his refuge and you move forward. You don't get stuck and caught up on it. Wallahu alam. Keep doing it, inshallah. Tell you. Question is from Mahmoud G from Atlanta, Georgia. And studying in the month of Ramadan, should we prioritize Quran and then put other studies after during the day? It depends on who you are. Seeking ilm is ibadah. As the people of knowledge have stated, seeking knowledge of the religion is from the greatest acts of ibadah. And it's something that only benefits the worshiper, but it benefits every other individual, every person. Everyone is going to be they're going to experience a benefit from ilm, even non-Muslims. Non-Muslims. Let's take an example of some non-Muslims who may lose their lives and their property because of someone's misunderstanding of Islam. All right, someone's mispractice of Islam, malpractice of Islam. Okay, or what they think is Islam. It may just be culture. All right, or politics that are not a part of the Islamic politics. All right. So when we have a knowledgeable Muslim, a learned scholar who says this is wrong, this cannot be done, this is incorrect, so on and so on and so forth, that non-Muslim is gonna benefit from that ilm, benefit from that fatwa. So knowledge is like when you have a ice cube tray and you pour the water in for your ice cubes. The knowledge doesn't just stay and sit in one little box or cubicle. Knowledge overflows. Knowledge spills out to the side. It's going to be water and ice everywhere. That's ilm. Ilm doesn't stay just for the worshiper. Rather, it benefits everyone. So you can never lose by seeking knowledge. And just because the month of Ramadan comes doesn't mean that you shouldn't seek or teach or study knowledge. But the greater focus should be on the Quran. And inshallah ta'ala, kill two birds, one stone. Study the Quran, read the Quran, and make that be your ilm. Inshallah ta'ala. Wallahu alam. Tell you. Questions from AB from London. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. What should we do if this virus lasts longer than expected? Should we go back to life as usual? We answer that. UA from London is setting your alarm late for Fajr intentionally, i.e. close to the time of sunrise, classed as deliberately delaying the prayer. If that's the only way that you're going to wake up, or in most cases that's how you get up and that's how you wake up, then no doubt it takes the same exact ruling. As far as if you know that you wake up naturally because you have to use the bathroom, or you wake up because you have a dream, or your cat wakes you up, or something like this, then that's a different story. As far as if you're depending upon the alarm clock and you set it for a later time, it's no different. Wallahu alam. Tayyib. Questions from AA Brooklyn, New York. How long do you recommend to stop eating after the adhan goes off on one's phone in light of finishing what's in one's hand? How long do you recommend to stop eating? I'm not clear on that question on exactly what's meant. How long do you recommend to stop eating after the adhan goes off? I'm not clear on that question. Question comes from ZN, College Park, Maryland. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If a husband and wife are intimate after suhoor and their engagement lasts until after Fajr, do they have to make up that fast? No question. They have to make up the fast. And if they were in their proper mindset, they knew it was time, then they have to pay a penalty as well. Wallahu alam, as we explained in Lulu Marjan about having sexual intercourse in the daytime of Ramadan. طيب. All right, so we're done with the Ramadan questions. Now let's go back up to the non-Ramadan questions. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. All right. First question is from Ian from Melbourne, Australia. Assalamu alaikum, Mufti. Does the garment worn in ihram have to be white? Can one wear black? It's recommended to wear white. The scholars of Islam say wearing a specific color is recommended during Hajj and Umrah. Wallahu alam. Next question says, is it allowed to call a friend a Sahabi's name as a joke? Example, Hassan ibn Thabit because they're into poetry. Hassan ibn Thabit because they're into poetry and not the warrior type. Yani, as long as there's no type of disrespect or mockery to the Sahaba, la bas. If you have a friend, and let's say the friend is fond of cats, and you call him Abu Huraira, la bas. Or if you had a young friend who was a very scholarly young man, and you said, look guys, this is our Ibn Abbas, Methalan, la bas. If you had someone that was a tough guy, a real tough guy, all right, not a fake one, a tough guy for the truth, they said, yeah, Umar, Methalan, instilling honor and pride in that person's mind, not breaking their necks, pushing them, inshallah, to do more good, la bas, inshallah ta'ala. But of course, that's not going to be the permanent name, unless that's their actual name. If that's a nickname, la bas. As long as it doesn't disrespect the Sahaba. Radiyallahu anhum ajmain. Wallahu alam. طيب. How to pray the 4 sunnahs before dhuhr. The option, you can make 1 taslim at the end, or you can make 2. Wallahu alam. Fatal Tatal, please mention Manchester, England. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. If you don't rule by Sharia, are you a disbeliever? Maybe, depending on the situation, depending on what rule you make, depending on how many rules you make, depending on what you know, different circumstances with regards to that. There lies no doubt ruling by other than what Allah Azza wa Jalla has sent down, for sure is haram, and it's a major sin. There's no question about that. Certain instances and situations, and it is kufr akbar. Depends. Wallahu alam. I've heard that the 4 sunnahs are to be prayed differently. Inshallah. Ismail AB. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Ismail AB from Boston, Massachusetts. Is permissible to name one's pet after false deities of the mushrikeen? Should it be done so? Asking for a friend. Avoid it. Stay away from it. Give your pet a basic name or a meaningful name. Nothing to do with any type of religion or gods or goddesses. All right? That's the best thing to do, inshallah ta'ala. Wallahu alam. R.A. from Richmond, California. What's the ruling on coming after the adhan is made? Is it still one of the blessed time to make dua? You always make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As far as a blessed time, then whatever the sunnah states. If the sunnah states in the nida at the time of the prayer, between the 2 adhans, whatever the hadiths tell us, that's when it's the specific prime time to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahu alam. R.A.R. Queens, New York. Is extravagance and hardship always subjective, or other things that are innately so? Sometimes, or most cases, or oftentimes it's subjective. But there are things in which everyone can agree on that's extravagant. No doubt. And there are things that everyone can agree on is a hardship. It's a hardship. So if I'm at the airport and I got held up for extra 5 minutes, it was an issue with my passport or my bag or something like that, 5 minutes instead of just getting, boom, boom, bang. And someone came to me and says, I'm sorry you had to go through the hardship. I said, what hardship? It was nothing. 5 minutes is nothing. And okay, but one person considers you standing at the counter for 5 minutes as a hardship. That's medieval. This is 2020, the virtual world. You're supposed to check in online. If it's no problem, boom, boom, bang, you're supposed to go through security. All right, so that's subjective versus a person who had to wait for 20 minutes standing on their feet. 30 minutes while they did some type of test or called this person. Everyone can agree that's a hardship. Holding you up, making you get there earlier, standing on your feet on a hard floor, etc. So there are certain things that people can agree on, hardship or extravagant, and there are other things which are subjective. Some people may consider eating meat every day as being luxurious and extravagant. Where I come from, we don't eat meat every day. We only eat meat on Fridays. We only eat meat on Jumu'ah. Our meals are hummus and bread, fool and bread, yogurt and bread, and anything in which there's rice and string beans and roasted chicken and this and that. That's a feast. So it's relative from time and place. Wallahu alam. But it's always going to be relative. If you feel that you're eating extravagantly because you have red meat or you have a whole chicken, you're sitting at the table, that's nothing to people who have more money. That's nothing. All right? They may take 2 bites of a chicken and the rest is tossed in the trash. So it's relative. Wallahu alam. طيب. King Faisal, Bronx, New York. Can you give us a brief explanation of how you met your wife? Gerard, you get married in time it took you for you to get married. We'll move on to the next question, inshallah. Question is from HD Aachen, Germany. Is the tasbih in ruku' and sujood obligatory in Salah? Some of the scholars of Islam held that view that it was obligatory, and many of them, if not most of them, held the view that it was recommended. You should do it. There's no reason to leave it alone. There's no reason to stay away from it. Inshallah, do it. That's the sunnah for sure. Allahu alam. Tayyib. Question from Imam Leicester, UK. Sheikh, can you come on the Imam Kareem Abu Zaid show? We'll move on to the next question. Tayyib. Mahmoud G from Atlanta, Georgia. How should we practice love and hate as youth playing sports and games with non-Muslims? A rock and a hard place. Due to the fact that you're playing with someone, it's automatically a type of softness. It's automatically a type of togetherness that you have with that person by giving. Unless it's a serious tournament in which is the Muslim team versus the non-Muslim team. We're trying to win and bring pride to the Muslims. But even then, you shake hands afterwards. You show good sportsmanship. Okay, there's a type of connection and love and togetherness there. All right, we all played sports before. We live in the United States. There are many things that we do that are naturally considered to be just good sportsmanship, being a good neighbor, that in some other places may be considered to be wala, or love for the kuffar. Allah musta'an, depending on the time and the place. You try to minimize it, inshallah, if you can, inshallah. HD from Aachen, Germany. Should I memorize Ad-Durr al-Bahiyya? For sure. You can't lose by memorizing it. It's an excellent book. If you can memorize that book, and if you get the sharh down packed, you read the explanation 2 or 3 times, you listen to the audio explanation 2 or 3 times, you have a very solid foundation in fiqh. Wallahu alam. Tayyib. Question is from Rulo from Stockholm, Sweden. If a father has abandoned the family and remarried with a new wife and children and has not talked to his first family over 8 years and now wants contact, do we have to talk with him? It's your father no matter what. It's your father. Doesn't matter how long he was away. He's your father. You may have animosity. You may hate him. How you left us. You got remarried, etc. He's still your father. There was a time in which you didn't exist. There was a time in which, by Allah's permission, that father was the means behind you coming into this world. He's still your father. So what I would advise is, of course, be honest and be upfront with yourself and with him. I hate you. You left us. You abandoned us. I was only 6 years old when you left. Now you got married to a new wife and so on and so forth. Get it off of your chest. Get it off your chest. Inshallah ta'ala, hopefully that won't be uquq, but as a means of rectifying the situation, maybe a necessity for you to tell him that you hate him. Get it off your chest. Tell him how you feel. Sit down with him. Be honest. Tell him how it hurts. And then, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, allow him to explain himself to you, because you don't know the situation. You don't know, maybe he had to leave. Maybe he was fighting and battling demons and devils. He had to relocate. You don't know. You don't know what was going on between him and your mother, his ex-wife. Not saying that a man abandoning his children for many years is an excuse, or just because of the ex-wife. She's giving him problems and a headache, which many women do. Many women, they do. They intentionally make things problematic. They try to make the husband or the ex-husband's life, quote unquote, a living hell, whether it's through child support or it's whatever it is. They intentionally try to harm the father and ex-husband. And then when the husband, the ex-husband, the father, when he runs away, when he can't take it, when it's too much, then she says, see, your father doesn't love you. He left you. Your father's a this and a blah, 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 and a la, la, la. He couldn't stay. And that's evil. But that's not always the case. That's not always the case. And no matter what a woman does, those are your children. Those are your children, Yahi. No matter what and how evil this woman is, those are your Islamic seeds. They're your kids. They look just like you. So it's no excuse for you abandoning your children because of the evil of a woman or the jealousy of a woman. That matters not. Is everything going to be peachy and perfect? No. You try to pick up the kids, she doesn't answer the phone, she calls the cops on you, she tries to take you to court, raise the child support, whatever happens, those are still your children. And you have to make the necessary jihad to be there for your children and to look after your children. If it's too much, if you can't, La yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha. Explain that to your kids, but it's a two-way street, it's a seesaw, it's a scale, it's two sides of the measurement. Get it off of your chest and allow your father to explain himself, because you never know the situation. You never know. Wallahu alam. Question says, from H.A. Djibouti, can you recommend a scholar to study online for Islamic finances in English, please? At the moment, I don't have anyone specific that I will bring to my mind. There are many online courses, many online academies and institutes that deal with these things. Inshallah, if you email us, perhaps we can put you in line with someone. And if not, inshallah, there are many, many good programs online. Wallahu a'lam. Question is from M.O. Salah Farawaniya, or Muhammad Salah from Farawaniya, Kuwait. What is the difference between Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim? What is the difference between Jannati Aden and Jannatu Aden in linguistic term? And what is this study called? Jazakallahu khairan. Wa yakum. As far as Ar-Rahman and Rahim, some scholars, they say that Ar-Rahman is one who has mercy all of the time. He always had mercy. He will always have mercy, no matter what the situation. And then they say that Ar-Rahim is a mercy that is given and endowed to a person in a specific situation, in a specific circumstance. Yani, Ar-Rahman, that Rahmah is min sifat al-that, kama yakulun, al-that. And then they say Ar-Rahim, that Rahmah is min sifat al-af'al, التي تتعلق بزمن أو شخص أو حالة. They say that Allah Azza wa Jalla's mercy, Ar-Rahman, is always. And the Rahim, the mercy is when you make dua, when you didn't get into a car accident, when the man wanted to have a baby, when, etc. And others, they say, Rahman fi dunya, Rahimun fil akhirah. Rahman in this life, Rahim in hereafter. And others, they say, Rahman bil mu'mineen, bin nas, Rahimun bil mu'mineen. They say Allah is merciful to all people. Rahman is Rahim to the believers specifically. So different things that the scholars mention with regards to these differences. Wallahu alam. As far as Jannati Aden and Jannatu Aden, that's ala hasb al-i'rab. Depends on the grammar. Wise, mansub, marfu', mudaf, majroor, etc. The study of these things here, many of them, from them is the Arabic language. From them is min al-balagha. Okay, and the ma'ani, ilm al-ma'ani of the Quran al-Kareem. Wallahu alam. Type. Question is from S.A. from London, UK. I took out a student loan knowing the severity, but saw no other option to pay for university. How can I repent if I'm unable to pay the loan back fully, but only in installments? If it was a necessity, then there's no repentance required. If it was a necessity, it wasn't haram. You always make tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for sure. You always seek Allah's forgiveness, for sure. فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ. Always. But if it was a necessity, it wasn't haram. You didn't make a sin. As far as you paying it back, then I need the concept of what you owe people, what you took from people. And it's problematic for a Muslim to say, I'm going to take the student loan. That's haram. I know it's haram. I believe it's haram. But I'm not going to pay it back. I don't have to pay it back because it's haram. It's a problem, and it's not going to look good for Muslims. Wallahu alam. طيب. HD from Aachen, Germany. Is it possible that someone falls into mockery of the deen even if he didn't intend to mock the deen? No question about that. No doubt about that. That's why you should be careful. And there are enough things in the world to laugh at and to make fun of. Not saying that a Muslim should just be a joker and a jester, laughing and joking day and night. All right? But if you wanted to make fun of things, there's 1,000 things to laugh about. Why do you even have to come close to religion, let alone Islam? What's the purpose? Why do you have to even come close to it? You can't make fun of this and that. There's 1,000 things to talk about. Oh, you talk about a brother, he says, oh, you look ridiculous with that beard. You look like a such and such. You look a such and such. I'm not mocking the beard. I'm just talking about his beard is ugly. His beard doesn't look right. He doesn't look right with this in his beard. Okay, it's so many things that you can make fun of. Not saying that you should make fun of any Muslim. You should never mock a Muslim. But if you want to bust, as we say in America, you want to bust on him, talk about his big toe. Talk about his feet. Your feet stink. Why do you even have to come close to something that is religious? Of sunnah. It's no excuse. So you can fall into it, yes. And of course, the message is not to make fun of a Muslim's toes or how Muslim smells. But we're trying to make a point here. We're trying to make a point. If you need it to make a joke about someone or something, then there's 1,000 things that you can do that have nothing to do with Islamic symbolicism, religious symbolicism. So it's no need. Wallahu alam. طيب. Muhammad Salah Farwani quote is the hadith Man takallama Arabiyyun fahu Arabiyyun, correct. Jazakallahu khairan. I don't know anything about that hadith. I've never read that hadith or heard that hadith. Allahu alam. طيب. Says R.A. Edmonton, California, if I read better when leading the people and maybe not as good or not as long sometimes when alone, I'm not intending to show off advice. طيب. There are different levels of riyah, the scholars say. The different levels of showing off or hidden shirk. It's not on one level. Okay, we have a level in which a person had no intention to do something. And the moment he saw another person, he got up and he did it. I was not thinking about prayer. I don't want to pray. And I'm only going to pray because this person's in front of me. That's not necessarily hidden shirk. That may be shirk akbar. You're worshiping for that person. Mumkin. Versus, I already wanted to pray. I wanted to pray. I was in the mood to pray. I'm going to pray. And then I saw you and I realized, let me, have a little more khushu' and, because you're watching me or you see me. That's a different level of riyah. That's not necessarily shirk akbar. Or a person is making prayer and they're not doing it for no one or to show off or to be heard or seen, but they realize that people are behind them. And this person, or he realizes that someone is there and it reminds him of the sunnah. It reminds him of the obligation of doing certain things in a certain way. And he does it. It's not necessarily riyah. It's a fine line, but it's not necessarily riyah. All right? Versus you being put in a spot of position and status and leadership, and you take it serious, and you fulfill it, and you exploit, and you tap into your talent and your skill. It's not necessarily riyah. All right? Now, I'm talking from personal experience now. If I have to do a khutbah, I'm expected to do a khutbah. It's my job to do a khutbah. I'm being hosted as a guest, whatever, to do a khutbah. How am I supposed to do the khutbah? Am I supposed to just say, oh, brothers, fear Allah, and that's it? Or is it not my job to speak confidently? Is it not my job to speak eloquently? It is not my job to quote things from my memory, to read, to have a style. Is it not my job to give the message to the people? Is it not my job to attempt to touch their hearts, to tap into their minds? It's my job. So the question is, how can I do that and not show off? You're showing off. You just mentioned 4 synonyms for one word. One word would have been enough. You keep quoting, you read the dictionary. What's showing off versus what's a standard of quality? A standard of quality and being a professional. I mean, imam, it's my job to lead the salah. It's my job to give the mu'idah. So there's a thin line. And there's going to be a battle and a tug of war of being humility, of being humble and practicing humility versus doing the right thing and delivering the message and being strong. So there's a difference. Shaitan is going to play with you. What's important is if you're put into that status, if you're put into that position, you have to lead the people in prayer, seek Allah's refuge, ask Allah for protection, and know that reciting the Quran is the sunnah. That's the sunnah. Beautifying your voice is the sunnah. Making a tajweed and a tartil of the Quran, tahseen al-sawt, that's the sunnah. Yataghanna, yajhar bihi, that's the sunnah. So therefore there's a difference. The more knowledge that you have, inshallah ta'ala, the easier things will be for you, inshallah. And that's the battle that everyone has to face. For those who are in a position of status, they're leading the salah. Are you not to recite beautifully? The people not supposed to enjoy your recitation? So you have to be mindful. Wallahu alam. Tayyib. Khair, inshallah. Maybe this will be one of our last questions that we'll take. We'll run out of time before iftar. Rulo from Stockholm, Sweden. What is the correct Islamic clothing for Muslim women? Jilbab, or is the abaya with a hijab the same, or what is better? Some of these terms can be tricky, and some of them can be synonymous, and some of these terms are used culturally. So you may go to some places, and the word jilbab or hijab is just a khimar. Pass me my hijab, pass me my hijab, and it's talking about a khimar. Other places, the word hijab is a long, loose type of clothing that the religious women of this country wear. Only the religious women on the sunnah dress like this, and they call it a hijab. And you may go to another country or another place in which hijab is I'm a hijabi or I'm a hijabi, meaning my hair is not out. I'm not wearing a tight shirt, a crop top and leggings. I don't dress like that anymore. Skin tight pants and my belly and my chest is out. I wear a shirt. I have on whatever type of pants. I'm a hijabi, meaning my hair is covered and you can't see my skin, even though I have on tight clothes. So it depends on the term and it depends on where you are. An abaya, all right? A head abaya, an abaya, it depends. Al-Muhim is that a Muslim woman's garment should be something that's loose. It should be thick enough that you can't see the color of a person's skin, a person's body form. It shouldn't be something that is going to stick on your body. It shouldn't be something that defeats the purpose of modesty and shame in front of non-mahrams. Pay close attention. In front of a mahram is a different story. In front of your husband, you can dress how you want to dress. You want to wear tight stuff, attractive stuff. You want to wear sleazy stuff in front of your husband. That's your husband. It's your husband. And many women, they have a misconception, and many have a misconception. You find women, they'll say, I came to Islam, I became a Muslim because it allowed me to meet a husband, and he loves me for who I am, and he loves me for my mind, and he loves me for my personality and not for what I look like. And, you know, when I was a non-Muslim, the men just looked at my body. Okay, so when you become a Muslim, your husband is not supposed to find pleasure in your body, or you're not allowed to show him certain things before you get married. Who said that Muslims are not attracted to the physical sense as well? Who said that? Who said that? Who said that you can't marry a person and you only look for a person's beauty? That's not the best thing, but it's permissible. The Prophet ﷺ says, "Tunkahul maratu li arba'," 4 reasons to marry a woman. And from those reasons, says, "Wali jamaliha," and for her beauty. So a man could marry a woman just for her beauty. He doesn't have to say she has a deep mind, a profound mind, a beautiful personality. Okay, so we have to be mindful of running from being jaded out in the dunya and then having misconceptions of the proper Islamic understanding in the deen. There's a difference here, all right? So you want to wear this in front of your husband, you want to wear fashionable clothes, that's fine. It's not haram. You just can't go outside like that, or you can't be inside with non-mahram men. So hijab is going to be relative. What's important is the hijab should not go against the purpose of the hijab. It should cover your body. It should not be a means of attraction, okay? It should be loose, it should be full, and it should be distinctive. It shouldn't be a thing in which you just blend in with the crowd. You blend in. And many fiqh views, unfortunately, many people, they just want to blend in. You don't have to cover your face because the niqab is intimidating. You stick out like a sore thumb. You don't have to have a full beard. You can just have a trimmed beard, you know, touch it up because you're scared. Keep it real. You're afraid of being pointed out and singled out by the kuffar in the airport. You're afraid of them looking at you like an Islamic weirdo, like an extremist. You don't have to have your pants above your ankles. Imam Fulan said, it's not khuyala, yani kada. You're afraid, you're scared of sticking out. You're afraid of being distinguished. And last but not least, the last piece of advice is very unfortunate with regards to many Muslims and also many Muslims that come from different countries overseas. You see the wife, she walks down the street in all black, her niqab, her gloves, everything. And he's wearing tennis shorts. He has on a fitted cap. He has on a tight shirt. He can look like a normal person. His face is shaven. His stubbles, beard stubbles. He has bumps on his face or whatever. He can fit in. I can go to the club. I can go to the basketball court. I can go to the supermarket. No one knows that I'm a Muslim. But my poor miskin wife, la, head to toe. She's going to be pointed out as an extremist, as a terrorist. She's a part of this group and a part of that group. That's not fair. And that's not a good representation of Islam. If your wife is a hijabi, you should be a hijabi. You should have a beard. You should have on a kufi. You should have on a thobe. Not saying that it's obligatory to wear a thobe. Not saying it's obligatory to wear a kufi, but you should be distinguished as a Muslim. And you should bear some of what she has to bear. Go outside for one day, akhi, with a niqab on. See how many people are going to look at you and stare at you and talk about you in a different language, thinking you don't understand their language. It's not easy. So you got to relate. What's important is the garment doesn't have a specific cultural style as long as it fulfills the proper conditions. Allah surely knows best. Please excuse us as we prepare to break our fast and get on this spiritual journey of Salat al-Maghrib. Jazakum Allahu khairan. Sallallahu alaihi wa sallam wa barak ala abdihi wa rasulihi nabiyina wa imamina Muhammad.